Have you ever stood in a quiet place, a place where people once lived, and felt the unnerving silence of their absence? Have you felt the ghost of a touch from a hand that vanished millennia ago, or heard a whisper in a language no living person can understand? We are a species defined by what we build, by the monuments and empires we raise to defy eternity. We carve our stories into stone and bake them into clay. But what happens when the storytellers disappear? What happens when a civilization, in the full flower of its power and genius, simply vanishes? It is more than a historical curiosity. It is a chilling reminder. We walk on the dust of empires that believed they were eternal, just as we do. Their silent ruins ask a question that haunts us across the ages. If they could fall, why not us? Our journey begins not in a jungle or a desert, but in the fertile plains of what is now Pakistan and northwest India. Here, over 4,000 years ago, thrived a civilization that was, in many ways, more advanced than its famous contemporaries in Egypt and Mesopotamia. This was the Indus Valley Civilization, also known as the Harappans. They were a people of staggering ingenuity and meticulous order, masters of urban planning who built cities that were marvels of engineering. Their settlements, like Mohenjo-daro and Harappa, were laid out in perfect grid patterns, boasting the world's first known urban sanitation systems. Homes had private wells and bathrooms, connected to a sophisticated network of covered drains that ran through the city. They developed a system of standardized weights and measures, a testament to a complex economy built on trade that reached as far as the Persian Gulf. They were artisans of incredible skill, creating beautiful pottery, intricate beadwork, and enigmatic soapstone seals. Yet, for all their brilliance, they are a people shrouded in an impenetrable silence. Their writing, a complex script of symbols and characters, remains completely undeciphered. We have thousands of examples of it, etched onto seals and amulets, but we cannot read a single word. We do not know their names, the names of their kings, the nature of their gods, or the stories they told their children. Their entire worldview, their literature, their history is a closed book. And then, around 1900 BCE, after centuries of stability, this vibrant civilization began to decay. The great cities were slowly abandoned, the trade networks dissolved, and the meticulous urban order crumbled. There is no evidence of a massive invasion, no layer of ash and ruin that speaks of a single catastrophic war. The end of the Harappans was not a sudden cataclysm, but a slow, creeping fade into obscurity. Theories abound to shift in monsoon patterns that crippled their agriculture, the drying up of the Ghaggar-Hakra River that was the lifeblood of many of their settlements, or perhaps a breakdown in their complex economic system. But these are just educated guesses, attempts to explain a silence that grows deeper with every unanswered question. The Indus Valley Civilization is like a perfect, intricate machine discovered in the desert, abandoned mid-operation. Imagine finding a vast, clockwork city, its gears and levers all exquisitely crafted and interconnected, from the grand boulevards to the smallest household drain. For centuries, this machine operated in flawless synchrony, its rhythm and purpose clear to its creators. But we, the discoverers, find it utterly still. The power source has been cut, but there are no signs of a struggle, no broken parts or violent sabotage. The operating manual, written in their unique, elegant script, lies open, but its language is alien to us. We can admire the genius of its construction. We can trace the connections and theorize about its function, but we cannot know why it stopped. We are left to wander its silent, orderly streets, forever haunted by the ghost in the machine, the lost consciousness of the people who built this wonder, and then simply walked away. From the orderly cities of the Indus, we travel across the globe and forward in time, plunging deep into the emerald jungles of Mesoamerica. Here, amidst the calls of howler monkeys and the thick, humid air, another brilliant culture rose and fell, leaving behind mysteries that continue to confound us. This was the world of the classic Maya. Between 250 and 900 AD, the Maya flourished in a constellation of powerful city-states that stretched across modern-day southern Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, and Honduras. They were not a unified empire like the Romans, but a collection of rival kingdoms, each centered on spectacular cities like Tikal, Calakmul, and Palenque. These were not mere settlements. They were cosmic theaters, their pyramids and temples aligned with the movements of the sun, the moon, and the planet Venus. The Maya were arguably the most advanced astronomers of the ancient world, developing a calendar of breathtaking accuracy. Their mathematical system, which included the concept of zero, was centuries ahead of Europe. They were artists who turned limestone into dynamic, narrative sculptures, and scribes who developed the most sophisticated writing system in the pre-Columbian Americas, recording their royal histories and cosmic beliefs on stone stelae and in bark paper books called codices. But this golden age came to a shocking and dramatic end. In the southern lowlands, the very heart of their civilization, the Maya world unraveled with terrifying speed. Beginning in the late 8th century, the great cities began to be abandoned, one by one. The intricate dance of politics, warfare, and ritual that had defined their existence ceased. Construction on grand temples halted, sometimes mid-project. The last known inscribed monument in the region dates to 909 AD. After that, silence. The jungle, patient and relentless, moved in to reclaim the plazas and pyramids. For centuries, the reasons for this classic Maya collapse have been debated. It wasn't a single event, but a cascade of failures. Evidence points to a deadly combination of factors: endemic, increasingly brutal warfare between the city-states, rampant deforestation and soil erosion from a growing population that pushed the environment to its breaking point, and, perhaps the final blow, a series of prolonged, devastating droughts that shattered the agricultural base of their society and undermined the authority of their kings, who were believed to be divine mediators with the gods. Our journey now takes us to the heart of Southeast Asia, to the floodplains of modern-day Cambodia. Here, another colossal civilization rose, one that engineered its landscape on a scale that almost beggars belief. This was the Khmer Empire, and its capital city, Angkor, was the largest pre-industrial urban complex on Earth. From the 9th to the 15th centuries, the Khmer kings, who saw themselves as god kings or Devarahas, presided over a vast and powerful empire that dominated the region. Their genius was written not just in stone, but in water. They built an astonishingly complex water management system, a network of massive reservoirs, known as barays, and thousands of miles of canals. This hydraulic infrastructure was the engine of their empire. It allowed them to control the unpredictable monsoon rains, irrigating vast rice paddies that could produce multiple harvests a year, feeding a massive population of up to 1 million people in the city center alone. This agricultural surplus was the foundation of their power, enabling them to construct some of the most breathtaking religious monuments ever conceived. The Great Temple of Angkor Wat, a vast stone microcosm of the Hindu universe, and the walled city of Angkor Thom, with its enigmatic smiling stone faces, are testaments to a civilization of immense wealth, devotion, and organizational might. For over 600 years, Angkor was a vibrant, sprawling metropolis. Then, like the others, it fell. In 1431, the city was sacked by invaders from the Siamese kingdom of Ayutthaya. But the sack was not the cause of the decline. It was the final symptom of a deeper sickness. By the time the invaders arrived, the great city was already mortally wounded. The intricate water system, the very heart of the empire, had begun to fail. A combination of factors, including a period of intense prolonged droughts followed by torrential floodses revealed by climate data from tree rings wood, have overwhelmed the network. This environmental instability, possibly coupled with a shift away from the Hindu god-king cult towards a less centralized Theravada Buddhism, eroded the very foundations of Khmer power. The kings moved their capital south, and the magnificent city of Angkor was left to the jungle. For our final stop, we journey back to the humid lowlands of south-central Mexico, to the very dawn of Mesoamerican civilization. Here, long before the Maya or the Aztecs, a mysterious and foundational culture emerged, one that archaeologists call the Olmec. Flourishing between roughly 1000 500 and 400 BCE, the Olmec are often called the cultura madre, or the mother culture, of Mesoamerica, because they established a cultural and religious template that would be emulated and adapted by nearly every civilization that followed. They were the first in the region to build monumental ceremonial centers like San Lorenzo and La Venta, and to codify a religion that seems to have centered on a pantheon of powerful, often terrifying deities that were part man, part animal, such as the snarling were-jaguar. They were the originators of the ritual ball game that would become a defining feature of Mesoamerican life, and they may have been the first civilization in the Western Hemisphere to develop a writing system. But the most iconic and baffling legacy of the Olmec are the colossal heads. Carved from massive boulders of volcanic basalt, these 17 known heads, some weighing up to 50 tons, are masterpieces of portraiture. Their features are so individual, so specific, with their fleshy cheeks, flattened noses, and helmet-like headdresses, that they are believed to be portraits of powerful Olmec rulers. The mystery here is twofold. First, the sheer logistical challenge. The basalt used for the heads was quarried in the Tuxtla Mountains, up to 100 miles away from the cities where they were erected. How a society without wheeled vehicles or beasts of burden transported these immense stones across rivers and through dense jungle remains a subject of intense speculation. The second mystery is their end. Around 400 BCE, after a millennium of cultural dominance, the Olmec civilization simply vanished. Their great ceremonial centers were abandoned, and in many cases, their monuments, including some of the colossal heads, were deliberately buried in long, neat rows. It was not a violent overthrow, but a careful, ritualistic closure. The Olmec heartland was emptied, and their influence faded, leaving a profound void. So what are we to make of these ghosts of history? The meticulously planned cities of the Indus, the stargazing kingdoms of the Maya, the water masters of Angkor, and the mother culture of the Olmec. They are not just tragic stories of collapse. They are profound mirrors. Each civilization was a unique answer to the fundamental questions of human existence, a brilliant and complex system designed for a world that it believed to be permanent. Their ruins are a testament to a humbling truth. No system is foolproof. Climate, the very foundation of life, can shift. Resources, no matter how ingeniously managed, can be exhausted. And belief systems, the glue that holds a society together, can lose their power. The takeaway is not one of despair, but of perspective. These stories compel us to look at our own sprawling, global civilization and ask the hard questions. They teach us that our survival depends on our ability to adapt, on our stewardship of the planet, and on the recognition that we, too, are part of a long and often cyclical story. The past is never truly dead. It is not even past. It is a quiet warning and a timeless invitation to be wiser than those who came before. Subscribe for more journeys into the heart of mystery.